Yo, what are you doing right now? We are going to get real about men's issues, who Jesus is, and who we are as men in Christ. We're going to hear Trey, Jeremy, Michael, and Brad break it down. These guys call themselves the Cussin Christians. All right, guys, what is going on?
You know, we don't have the Crunch Munchies, though. Where's the Cheetos?
We haven't had Cheetos for a while, bro.
You guys are getting ready to go eat barbecue in an hour.
Are you going?
Are you going to go?
No. This is my last Friday.
You're not a team player, dude.
Listen, This is my last Friday on this project that I'm working on.
All right.
It ends Monday, so next week I should be good.
There you go.
I got to get back and do stuff. We have Zoom calls every day at 1 o'clock, and I have to show progress every day. Like, this is what I did.
Oh, so your job's more important than barbecue.
Gosh,
I know. I got to reprioritize.
My boss was mad as heck this week, man. He calls me and said, dude, how come you haven't been at work all week? I said, I have been. You just haven't seen me. I said, I identify as transparent when my pronouns are who and were.
Nice.
Transparent.
That's hilarious.
The purple hairs that watch through the bottom of their steering wheel when they're driving.
Welcome to Florida. I didn't get that.
What is with the flashing lights and pouring down rain, and they stop and go 40 miles an hour on 95? Is that in the handbook for driving? Dude.
It's more dangerous than going the speed limit.
Isn't it a law you're not supposed to put on your hazards?
Yes, but they do.
Well, why do we do that? I used to do it all the time. I don't do it anymore.
I do it whenever, like, I see, like, I'm getting ready to slow
you're
down.
one of them.
No, not like that.
No,
I'm generally like on the edge of hydroplaning. Like, I'm praying to Jesus the whole time.
But why is it a law not to do that? It's not like it's making things worse.
And you're warning the people behind you. I'm about to stop you.
no, like when I see like
on a 95.
when I see like a bunch of cars hitting their brakes, and I know I'm going to be close on it, like I'll hit my brakes first, but then I'll hit the hazard just to like make the guy behind me.
You
pay
react
attention.
that quick, I'd be like, "Where's that hazard?" Well, sometimes it's there.
But you don't need it. You're already going 40.
Sometimes it's on the back of the
You don't even go over 40.
wheel.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I don't what?
You don't even go over 40 anyway.
Trey's like, all right,
He's
speed
run off the
limit 70, 35 should be good.
We were driving to that movie last night, and we're driving home.
Does Donna drive in your house?
No.
She should.
I was driving last.
She don't stop at green lights.
She don't, man. She's got so many things going on at one time. She scares me.
Trey would go off the road looking for the hazard lights. Gotta be safe.
Gotta be safe. Gotta find that hazard light real quick.
Run right off the road.
And hit a pedestrian.
I love the rumble strips.
That'll wake you
You
up.
think you're a NASCAR, don't you?
Yeah. Ooh.
Dude, I was driving back from Miami on, what was it, Monday, and it was raining, and I was on the turnpike coming up, and you know how that is, and there was an accident, and of course,
can't get off
somebody's boat like flipped over, and it was a pretty significant thing, but the traffic was moving. It wasn't like stopped, but it was instead of 70, 80 miles an hour, everybody's going 20.
Because they're rubbernecking.
Yeah, whatever it was, but like, so people started passing me, so next thing you know, I pulled my truck over, and I had like the shoulder blocked off, and there was a line of cars forming up behind me, and people are honking, and I'm just sitting with my hand out the window just waving. It's like,
I did that once, and a trooper came up behind me. He came flying up behind me, and so I got back over, and he pulled up next to me. He's like, stay out of my lane. I mean, dude was pissed. It's like, okay, I won't do that again. The other thing I've seen recently, just in the last few years, why do people stop a car length before they get to the stoplight?
Oh, I know.
It's like, is there an invisible car there? They're like, there's a whole car length. And sometimes people do it between cars, too. I'm like, what the heck, dude?
And you're trying to get into that left turn lane, and they're
so frustrating.
that's the worst.
That's the worst.
So I'm in a truck most of the time. I just pull over the curb.
Is anybody happy with somebody else's driving, though? When you ride with somebody, are you going, dude, that was great?
Michelle's
or are you always
she's always grabbing the dashboard.
Me too with him. I'm like, I'm holding on to the handle of the. Okay, there's Michael. We're gonna go. We're going inside that. We're just going around that guy's
I think Michael and I drive alike. I think I'd be down with that. Nice.
So we correct each other when we drive. Mm-hmm. Today's topic. Chef wanted to bring it up. And I want to pose this two ways. Number one, how are we to correct someone we know, either through spiritually or bad theology or an instance in life? How do we approach them? And then from the flip side, on the back half, I want us to think about, how do we take it when someone comes to us and says, that's not good form?
That's a good point.
So just a little scripture, and we'll kick it off, and I'll let you fill us in, all right? Galatians 6:1. I've been in Galatians a lot lately. I don't. It's a good book. And look at this. It's about to fall apart. So, brothers, if anyone is caught in any transgression, You who are spiritual should restore him in a spirit of gentleness. Keep watch on yourself, lest you too be tempted. Then the great stuff, bear one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ. If anyone thinks he is something, when he is nothing, he deceives himself. But lest each one test his own work, and then his reason to boast will be in himself alone, not in his neighbor, for each will have to bear his own load. How do we do it? You brought something up I wanted to approach today, and I just kind of wanted to get your commentary before we dive in.
Yeah, so I sent you guys a text, but just to give you guys the full context. So, and I won't use names because I don't want to put anybody on the spot. But
Protect the innocent.
yeah, exactly.
Love that show.
What show's that?
That was FBI back in the day. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Okay.
Yeah, so we used to do it.
He has no clue what you're talking about.
Efren Zimbalist Jr.
Oh, it's like CSI or whatever, right?
No, it was FBI.
FBI or Dragnet.
FBI.
Okay, well,
okay.
Keep going.
Anyway.
We digress.
Then you know what? I have no idea what you guys are
All
talking
right,
about.
go for it.
No, so my wife came to me, and she was kind of upset. And we have a neighbor in the neighborhood that our kids play with on a regular basis. And the little boy, my boys play a lot, and we're not close to them at all. But I've had a couple interactions, but nothing crazy. But our kids play all the time, so of course we're friends on Facebook, and we're all on the same community page and all that good stuff. And my wife came to me. She goes, "Did you see this post?" And I was like, "No, I didn't. I was doing other things." And she was like, "Well." It really bothered me, and we started talking about it. And she goes, this lady posted on Facebook not only what she was thinking about, but also the address and a picture of the house.
Oh my gosh!
And was like, "Have you guys seen disturbing things at this house?"
Whoa.
Well, it's down the street. And then somebody was like, "What are you talking about?" And of course, it created this chatter, right? Because that's what people do.
Is this all women?
It's all women.
Sorry.
And
Sorry.
the hens were clucking. You want to make it worse? I'll make it worse. Sorry.
You just made it worse.
So
hate mail goes to him today. Don't send it to Impact Men. Send it to Chef.
Listen, we're not woke on this podcast,
No,
so I'm
no.
sorry. It was a joke. It was in fun.
Yeah. If you can't laugh, screw you.
Truth hurts.
I mean, when you have to apologize
For a joke.
at a,
Keep.
but anyway, this podcast is about something different today. But so next thing you know, it progresses and there's questions, and somebody says, "Hey, I saw a police car there." And then somebody goes, "Well, what are you talking about?" And she goes, "Well, I think there's a lot of domestic violence happening at this house."
Wow.
Well,
Big time speculation. That's crazy.
Big speculation, number one. Number two, they obviously don't know the people there, right? But on the second side of this thing is these people are very Christian. It's a very Christian household. I know they go to church every Sunday. They've came to our house and did an egg hunt that actually was supposed to represent Jesus, and the way they set it up. And
The lady who made the accusation.
the lady that made the accusation,
Whoa.
right? And they're very outward about their faith. I mean, they had a complete, they had all the children down to the cul-de-sac that were from their church to have a big party one day. So it's not that they're not, I would assume, and again, I'm not in their house. I'm also not judging. I want to make sure I'm very clear about this, but they obviously are outward about their faith.
Talk about blowing your witness, though, bro.
Well, so that's the issue, right? Is, my wife and I were talking. I was like, the problem with this post is, number one, big speculation. Number two, it's on social media. So it's not a private conversation. It's not like she shot me a note and said, "Hey, I saw this at this house.
Right.
Do you have any idea what's going on?" Even though in some ways that would be not okay either. But the gossip side of it is really bad, right? But then number two, or three or four, whatever number I'm on now, these people are damned now, right? Mm-hmm. Anybody who saw that post not only knows the house number, they know what's going on. They think they now. So if there isn't domestic violence going there, or anything at all for that matter, there's an assumption that something's bad's happening in that house. So I don't know if they have children. I don't know any of those things. But if they do, now you have a household that, and that can really affect kids big time. Because
Exactly.
if I found out my kids are going to that house, I might be like, "Hey guys, you're not allowed to go there because there's domestic violence." Wow. But the other side of it is, in those cases, a lot of times that can spark more violence because whoever is the aggressor, I won't make an assumption of who, then might take it out on the victims.
Right.
And God forbid they are kids involved, right? Because then the kids could get it worse, right? So, and my thing was, well, why wouldn't you just go to the person or go to the house and say, "Hey, you know what, Trey, I know it seems like Donna's beating you all the time.
Yeah.
Do you need help? Do you want out of it, or is it something you guys are into?"
Yeah.
But
It's another podcast.
but my point is there's a lot of ways to handle that situation, and I was off put by it big time.
Yeah.
So I was torn because I wanted to. My spirit was like, hey, you probably should call the husband and have a conversation. But because it's one of those things like, hey, man, and as Christians, I should have this conversation with you. Like, I really don't like what I saw, and like I think these reasons are why, and we might be hurting somebody, not really showing love.
Does he even know that was posted?
I have no idea.
Okay.
That's the thing, man. What if that neighbor is on Facebook and sees that?
They most likely are, right? Because all the neighborhoods have their own pages, and then there's one for like the greater neighborhood too.
Sure.
So,
well, in the accuser, it can come back on them too, because that's going to be on there until somebody takes it down. So the neighbor's going to find out sooner or later, and then that's going to come back on the lady who accused them. I mean, that's all kinds of strife
that's
and
kind of what I'm getting at.
Conflict
right?
going on.
So there's a lot to unpack there, but I was trying to figure out like, how do I have this conversation with my neighbor? How do I talk to him? Is it even appropriate to have the conversation?
I would, in a heartbeat.
Like you said, especially because it's a public. This is not hearsay. You saw this on social media, and you can say, hey, I'm concerned about this. Do you guys have any proof? Or is this speculation? Because if that's speculation, that's a huge accusation that could damage.
It's not like there's a police report they could attach to it or anything like that. It's
even if there were, it's still inappropriate.
It's
still inappropriate to have that in a public forum
and
like that.
And that's one of the 10 commandments. Don't bear false witnesses against that neighbor.
Oh my gosh!
Number 7.
If you want to,
dude, good job.
Man,
I don't know if it is. I just
you sold it with conviction.
I
want to impress you guys.
You're such a good Catholic, dude.
Oh man.
Well, so what do you do? Because again, like I go down, and the other side of the story for me is like, okay, so I have this conversation. It goes well. That's great, right? That's the good side of it. It goes bad. Now all of a sudden, it could reverse itself onto me, right? It's because my kids then could be punished for me having this conversation with them. But then not only them, but then she, obviously she, could then start talking to the other neighborhood kids' parents who they're closer to than we are too. And then my kids are ostracized from the cul-de-sac, you know what I mean? Which, maybe that's the risk I need to run. But at the same time, I don't want my kids to pay for that either.
Maybe you do, bro. Well, maybe they don't need to play there.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if that's the reaction that they have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For somebody to, again, make that public speculation and risk ostracizing somebody in the neighborhood, they very well could have that negative reaction to you bringing it up, which is, again, that you're in the right to bring that up. And, they could very well have the opposite reaction to that.
Are you like... excuse me. Are you like friendly with this guy? Or
we've had maybe 2 conversations that were a sentence to 3 sentences long.
So would he even know your name if you?
Oh yeah, he would know my name. I would know his, but not much past that.
How big is he? Can you take him?
Oh, I can take him.
Okay. All right, that's good.
I'm not worried about that.
Jesus' words: "If your brother sins, go and show him his fault in private. If he listens to you, you have won your brother. But if he does not listen to you, take 2 or more with you." I'll let you take the Beef Brothers with you.
Kick his ass.
Yeah. So
I think that wasn't.
So that by the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every fact may be confirmed. That's a Jewish law. There, that's
right. That was the law.
That's a Jewish law that he's quoting there. And if he refuses to listen to them, tell it to the church, and if he refuses to listen even to the church, let him be to you as a Gentile and a tax collector. So sooner or later, there's going to come a time you're going to have to say, do they have the ears or the scales off their eyes, or they can't even listen? But I don't. Is it on your heart to reach out to him?
It was for about maybe a 24, 48 hour period, and like today, it's not necessarily other than we're talking about it, and that's kind of where I'm like. The other side of me is like, is it already done and over with and past the point where I can have it, have a meaningful conversation now because it's already out there and done.
Yeah.
Because once it's on the internet, it's over.
But is there any more? Is there any more chatter that has been added to it, or
you know what? I didn't like it. I didn't follow it. Like it's one of those things where I just kind of turned my back to that because I don't want to be part of that
conversation.
Like I don't want my name attached to it. Like,
because what it is gossip.
Right.
That's all it is. And unless you show me a police report that there's something going on in that house.
But even if it is gossip, even if it's real, right? That's my thing. Is like this family, whatever that means.
They're shattered enough as it is.
Well, they're shattered enough. They're trying to heal. If it does fix itself, then they may have to move. I mean, that's how bad this stuff can get, right? With social media and with public image and things like that. I mean,
he talked, and Paul writes in Romans, and this is kind of where you are. I urge you, brethren, to keep your eyes on those who cause dissensions and hindrances, contrary to the teaching with which you learned, and turn away from them.
When that was written, it's like we had one-on-one conversations with each other. We had relationships with each other. There was no social media. You went and talked to a brother. You know, everything was done by a handshake as far as a contract was concerned. Now everything is so blown out of proportion, and it's destroying lives.
Right.
You know, Michelle talks about a particular group that she was in back in the day, and I know this particular couple, and I know their situation, and it was brought up, can we pray? Let's have our prayer time. And they would pray for so-and-so because of this.
They work the gossip into the prayer.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
And it's like, whoa, wait a second, man. Now, that was before this.
Right.
So now the whole group knew what was going on in this person's life, surrounded in a prayer request.
Ooh. That's bad.
Wow. Well, and I think that's part of the issue with what we're talking about with this is like the prayer request has probably had like, I would have to assume there was some like, or at least they told themselves there was good intention there, right? I would think, because you're praying to help somebody. Like I want to think that I don't know them, so you do, so you can tell me if I'm wrong. But the thing about social media is I don't know that she necessarily had a ill intent, but it's also very easy to hide behind the phone, right? Like
Right.
It's almost like, oh, it's harmless because this isn't actually physical. Right, when the reality is like it's physical, like
Name names, right?
Not just name, like
Address, names.
picture of the house, everything. Like I mean, there's no like
Yeah, that's to me that's not just a slip up. That's like intentional.
no,
Yeah.
And at that point, I would probably chime in maybe on that thread and say, hey, is there any proof of this? Is this just all speculation? Because this is a serious accusation.
Right.
And maybe, I don't know, maybe just by saying something like that, it could calm the chatter down.
I
But
wonder if anybody challenged her.
I don't know. I'll look it up after this.
Yeah, check and see. I'm anxious to know.
I don't know, bro. I think reaching out in love with the dude.
That's what I was kind of thinking, is being like, hey, you know, as the head of the household of my household, like you're the head of your household, the way Christ tells us to be. It's my job as a Christian also to come talk to you, another Christian, and bring this up. And I saw this from your wife, and I'm not going to say something to her, and I'm not judging, but like,
Right.
do you understand the ramifications that this could have had? And if you're not aware,
Let's think about the house. Do you know the people at the house that
I don't know.
or anything? I mean, I wonder if there's a way to reach out and just say,
Yeah.
is everything cool here? Without drawing attention to the fact that you're getting slammed by your neighbors. That's
yeah,
it.
because they'd say, well, how did you know? What
Well,
makes you
and
what
they
makes
might
you
not,
think?
you know, because they're technically not in our neighborhood, so they may not be on that particular Facebook group.
Oh,
right?
gotcha.
So
Boy,
Man,
that's tough.
it's crazy how this thing can
I know it.
perpetrate. I mean, and maybe she didn't have ill intentions in doing it, maybe,
Right.
but she came across as that. She came across as that person, that neighbor, because
sure.
of it. So my question is, I mean, how did this person? They obviously blasted it out. Do they have another person in the neighborhood that knows these people there that they could approach them and talk to them with love and grace, or are we just going to put out the alarm that there could be some bad things going on in this house? Mm-hmm. I left my trash can out by my house the other day. The trade never does that. There could be something bad going on there.
Right. Well, you don't know what's happening in that house, but you do know what that person posted. The lady who accused him, you do know that's out in the open.
Yeah.
That's something you can address because you know that happened, and you know it affected other people, right? Because other people chimed in on it. So, I mean, to me, that's the more certain thing that you can address.
And what does it do for this person's witness? Like I said earlier, that's not done in love. I'm sorry, that has nothing to do with love. That's
Right.
accusation. That's hearsay. There's so many words around what this person did instead of biblically going to the person, not going this way and saying, hey, look, is there something I could pray with you guys about? You know, is there, I just, that blows the whole witness of, geez, I don't want anything to do with Christianity because of this is how the body treats each other.
Well, ironically, that's what my wife actually said. She goes, you know, for this person that's so outwardly Christian, this, that, and that, and the other, and she's like, I don't know if I want anything to do with them anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, and they definitely are. You know, again, my wife and I are at different stages of our relationship, you know, in our walks. But like, you know, she's like, if that's what it's like to be a Christian, then I don't want to be part of that. You know what I mean? Like, And my wife's a Christian, by the way, but like my point is, like, she's like, that's not who I want to be around.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think what the other message is, like, how powerful gossip can be, right? And it's just a really dangerous thing, But that's where I was like, man, I feel like I kind of should maybe approach this guy, and do I come to him like with a bunch of scripture because he's another Christian and say, hey, this is what God tells us to do, so you can't get mad at me now, right?
Right.
But do you understand what's going on?
Yeah. I think if you know him and you're out mowing the yard or whatever the chores are, and you know how you start with grace up front. Man, there's just, hey, John boy, there's just something on my heart I wanted to ask you about.
Yeah.
And I just kind of wanted to get y'all's perspective on what that was.
Mm-hmm.
And it might be that easy.
Right. I know we don't, as believers now, we're not under the law anymore, but those 10 were picked out for a reason. I mean, when you read the 10, obviously being under the law, you still would have to fulfill all the other 603, but do not bear false witnesses against your neighbor. There's a reason why that's in the top 10. That's like Letterman's top 10 list back in the day.
I thought about that.
And it must have been a problem back then, too. And, Satan is the prince of the power of the air. He's the father of lies. He's the accuser of the brethren.
Yep, accuser of the brethren.
So that's how he works.
Right.
So, I mean, even back in Bible times, they knew that was a problem, and they wanted the 10 Commandments. That's a big one.
Well, it's interesting because you can find your clan on social media, right?
Yeah.
You can find the people that'll justify the thought.
The echo chamber.
Right. That's what I'm saying, and it is true. I mean, if you look at it, I mean, if you're right wing, you'll find a bunch of right wing stuff on your social media. If you're left wing, you'll find there. If you're Christian, you'll find that. So I mean, she definitely got the audience that she was probably looking for.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because the way it started out, she didn't just name everything other than the address in the house, and then it was like 15 different people replied later, and then she was like, "Yeah, it's domestic violence."
No.
So she was kind of waiting for the crowd to build. Well, that's what it seemed like. Again, I'm not trying to cast judgment. I think it's important, people listening. This isn't gossip what we're doing. I don't believe it is. We're having a discussion about how to handle this.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, there's no judgment here. I'm not judging that woman or them.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, but to me as a Christian, looking at what the word says, that wasn't a outwardly Christian act by the nature of the way we're called to do things.
Yeah. That was
power of the tongue, man. James talks about it.
Yeah.
I've got a friend of mine that who's a pastor, and it was like 2 years ago, he made a comment about the sin sniffers, and
We've talked about that on here.
It cracks me up so much. It's like, I smell something going on down at that house down there, and you're looking out through the wind.
And Gladys Kravitz, remember Gladys Kravitz?
No.
Gosh.
Lenny Kravitz song?
I was going to say yes once you guys did, but I'm really lost on this.
You
Sorry,
remember
dude.
Bewitched?
Oh yeah,
Gladys Kravitz across the street.
yeah. She was always. Yeah.
They see the.
Okay.
It wasn't Will Ferrell in that movie?
That was the.
That was a
remake.
remake. That was a remake. That wasn't the old.
I'm getting old, guys.
You
I'm
are.
sorry, dude.
So
The getting part's over.
all right. So I pray you have peace, and there's some enlightenment on how to handle that. I'm anxious to hear if you.
Yeah, I'm kind of trying to find that easy way in because
Right.
I think if I just walk up to their door and knock on it, like, "Hey, Joe,
Right.
can we talk?" Like, it's just going to start on the heels.
Sure.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
people don't do that today.
No, they just don't go knock on the door. No.
So it's kind of one of those, like, and I thought about, well, maybe I'll send him a Facebook message and just put a nice like bunch of Bible quotes in there and like, "Hey, this is what I'm supposed to," But I was like, but that's really not the way to
That's
do it
hiding behind
either.
the phone too.
That's hiding. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Well, just pray that God will bring up an opportunity. Maybe you're both out there at the same
It's on your
time,
heart.
and he initiates conversation or
Well,
something.
this kid did hit my kid in the eye with a ball yesterday, so I could walk down and say, "Hey, we got to talk about the
We gotta
games we're
talk.
playing."
I got a list for you here.
We got a couple things we got to address here, Johnny.
Wow. All right. Well, man, that's real life. That's what this the four of us getting around and talking about this is. It's just real life situations, how we handle them when they pop up, and how hopefully we handle them through the Spirit that's in us with grace and love. And but if there's a deep concern that you feel like it's really off track, how do you approach them without judgment, without condemnation, to maybe have that light bulb going off in their mind? So that leads me to the next part. What if you're the guy that gets approached by a brother of, "Hey, I want to talk to you," and I got called yesterday.
Oh.
I got a phone call yesterday.
Do you want to tell the story, or is it?
I'm going to tell the story because it involves you guys.
Oh boy, here we go.
Oh, jeez.
I'm sure I'm on the
say
head.
now?
You know where it's going.
Am I getting fired?
What did I say?
No, nobody said anything. It was just.
Well, how do you get in trouble on a podcast if it's not about what you said?
Well, it just.
They didn't like.
Thanks for putting the videos out there, Brad.
Yeah, Brad.
I haven't worn
Thank
a
you.
wife beater T-shirt, so it can't be that.
Yeah.
No.
I accept
through this?
responsibility for everything I said.
No, and,
That's why I'm wearing
and
black.
I listened. I've heard it before. It's been presented to me before, but it's about the name of our show.
Oh yeah.
And he and super guy, love him. We're connected at the hip, and just says, man, I got a comment or two about the name of the show, and are we telling people it's okay to cuss? And
Did those people listen to the podcast?
and that's the first question. And his words were, I don't know that they're even going to listen to it just because of the name. And so that made me wonder, okay, if we change the name
To what?
to something else, would our listenership go up or would it go down? Would it remain the same? And it just opened up a hope. But he approached me with total love.
Mm-hmm.
He framed it perfectly. I didn't feel threatened. I didn't feel like I was being finger pointed. He just says, and I said, you're not the first one that's called on the name of the show.
Right.
And I appreciate you. I want you to be able to come to me anytime with any reservation or anything like that. But that ship's kind of sailed. And
We've literally got T-shirts.
we literally got T-shirts. And if you're going to have a group of people that are going to get hung up on 2 words without listening to the content,
Right.
then what does that tell us? So I'm going to take it under advisement, and I'm going to talk to the 4 guys. But I appreciate you coming to me in the manner that you did, because it was classy,
Yep.
it was scriptural, it was with love and grace. And he goes, I just don't know what to do about it, because I'm telling people about your podcast, and well, if they call it Cussin Christians, they're really not Christians anyway. Blah 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 blah.
Well, then he should encourage them to listen to it anyway.
And he says, just listen.
Yeah.
Let's get a couple of them on the podcast.
I think we should bring him on. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you got a problem with it, join us.
Yeah.
So
Tell us-
props to him for doing it in a biblical manner.
He did,
Sounds like
he did it perfect.
He handled it the right
I
way.
totally love this man.
Do you mind giving a little context without giving up who it is? Like, was this a pastor? Is this somebody just from church? Is
Someone in the ministry.
Okay.
Someone in the ministry, yeah.
Oh.
And it just I thought about it all night, and I just said I was going to be circled up with you guys today, and we talk about it. So we're actually talking about it a little quicker than I was wanting to.
Okay.
But that whole passage is referring to somebody who's in error.
Right.
So are you in error because they don't like the name of the podcast?
Well, they think I might be in error because I might be sending a signal out that you talk about grace, but you're talking about you got a license to sin, and you're actually encouraging people to say,
But that's not what we talk about.
But that's not what we talk about at all. So hopefully the people that he's been talking to are listening to this conversation,
Sure.
and it might help them get it.
Well, and hopefully they understand that it's actually drawing attention to the point that everybody's going to sin at some point, whether you're a Christian or not.
Right.
The difference is, are your sins prepaid for
Right.
or not, right? So the same person that may not cuss, I happen to cuss. I don't do it intentionally. I can tell you it's been years of formation. Like, it's not.
You're still renewing your mind
You were in the
on
NFL,
that.
bro.
You're playing in the
I
NFL.
was in Boy
for
Scouts
those
where I
years.
learned it.
But
I think also part of the purpose of this podcast was to appeal to a different crowd. We're
Right.
not going to rename ourselves the Sunday school boys and do like a dry. We've heard those kind of podcasts, and this is
Right.
more conversational. It's more how we talk.
Right,
It's
exactly.
supposed to be a little bit different.
Right. He went right off of that Matthew passage from that Jesus said, and coming to me in private and talking about it, and I appreciated that. I recognized it, and I went, he's going by the book, and we hung up with. We can't wait till I talk with him again Monday or Tuesday. So, but in your life, if someone's approached you with correction,
Yeah.
what does that look like to you?
I think it's tough because, first of all, we never want to hear anything bad about ourselves.
Right.
Like that's just
I want to be liked by everybody.
you know, and I kudos to you, Trey, for being open-minded to it. Because I will tell you what all of us did at the table when you said that, whether we realized it or not.
I knew you were going to.
We got defensive as all get out.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
did.
Who's this guy?
We've already thought about it. We know what we're doing. If you don't watch the show, here's a word for you: F you. You know what I mean? Like,
Beep.
but you can beep that out, whatever you want to. But
He didn't say the word. He didn't say the word.
that might be the first time I've actually kept it out.
Yeah. I know.
What did you do when a coach came to you?
Oh, like a football coach or whatever?
Any coach. I mean, I had some coaches that I respected and some that I didn't because of the knowledge of the game and things like that. But when you had a coach that you respected, I mean, I'm anxious to see what Colorado, what he does up in Colorado.
Deion Sanders?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm anxious to see because he's well respected. And so how did we react when a coach came to us? I mean, we all play sports.
I mean, I was a kid, so it was like I expected the adult to know more than me.
Yeah, I did too.
So
But you played college.
I mean, I'm high school. I played through high school, but still, I just thought, the guy knows more than me. So if he sees something, I don't know. I was just wired that way, just to be like, all right, I'll change it and I'll do.
But didn't you look at when they came to you? I mean, I had the coaches that grabbed your face mask, and then I had coaches that, especially my college coach. I don't think the dude ever got angry, but Coach Sporner, rest in peace, buddy. I love you. He had a way about him, man. And it's just like it was like, oh man, I disappointed this dude.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I had a couple coaches like that where I was like, man, okay, I didn't grasp that. Okay, I'm gonna take
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do better. So, and it was always with that knowledge. He had the knowledge, and he had it in a way where he wasn't grabbing my face mask and beating the crap out of me.
Right.
And I think that's a good example of what we do as believers. Are we grabbing face masks and beating the crap out of people?
Good call.
Or are we with the knowledge?
Good call.
With the knowledge of the game. You know the game.
Right.
Got the playbook.
Got the playbook, and you're giving it to them in love, and they respect you more when you know it.
That's a good call. I hadn't thought about that because it's like we have a pastor that gave a sermon over a year ago, and I've heard him give it a couple of times, but he references the scripture of, do you catch somebody or do you
Oh, that's a good one
catch
too.
somebody? You know what I'm saying?
Was
Do
that-
you catch?
Right.
Who was that? Lynch?
No, it was one of the pastors from our church.
Oh yeah, it was. Okay,
Yeah,
that was a great
do
That was
reference.
a really good one.
Catch you, or I caught you doing this, or
Right.
I'm catching you.
Yeah.
And I thought the way
If you're listening, he's making a baby
if you're I'm
cradle
using a
versus
cradle
a
and
finger in your face.
versus a finger in your
Well,
face, shaking the.
It's catching like an accusatory way, or catching like I'm saving you.
I'm saving you way.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, that was
the
good.
Christian trust fall.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, and it's hard, right? Because you honestly you have to catch them
Right.
to
Catch them. To catch
You know,
them.
so are
Say
you
catch in your good voice.
Catch.
Catch them. Yes.
Catch them.
Catch them, or you
Catch them.
catch them. All right.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome.
You
So
really do need a lullaby station or something.
yeah.
NPR.
So lesson
Cussin
learned.
Christian Radio.
Yeah.
Because I mean, from you guys, as we try to put a bow on this one, I gave you an experience just happened 24 hours ago with me. Any of you have been corrected other than a coach or something in your walk?
I mean, I've had conflicts with my wife where at the time of the argument, I was like, she's way wrong. Like, I don't see it at all. But after like a 24-hour period of praying and literally saying, Lord, if I'm wrong, show me, because I don't feel it, I don't see it, and I don't want to be obstinate. I don't want to be stiff-necked, as it would say in the Bible.
Right.
But after 24 hours and thinking about it and praying and reflecting, I'm like, okay, I can see her point now. I can see. But it took me a while to kind of soften that up, because I don't want to be the arrogant jerk who's like, no, I'm never wrong.
Right.
I want to be open to that. And one of the fruits of the Spirit is humility.
Right.
So over time, I submitted myself to him, and he showed me. And then I went back to my wife and said, okay, I see your point. Sorry about that. I'll try to do better next time.
Yeah. This has been great. I hope you get some peace if this is something that you think the Lord wants you to insert yourself in.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if when the timing's right, and I think that's the thing for me is I felt like I was going to force it, if that makes sense. And to your guys' point earlier, if somebody comes to you and it's somebody you trust and respect, and you're going to take the message a lot better, especially if it's done in the right way. But that was kind of my struggle, is I really don't know you, right? So for me to just come up and also not come off accusatory, knowing more, you know what I mean? And but it'll work itself out. I'll eventually see him playing with the kids, and I'll have an opportunity. If not for this, something else, that'll make sense.
What would we call ourselves if it wasn't
Cursing Christians?
cursing?
No, that's still
foul language.
No, it's still controversial.
And for the people that are tuning in for the first time, I mean, how much do we literally cuss on this show?
No, but it's like noises that come out of our mouths that offend people. Christians.
Two.
You can't put that on a T-shirt, though, bro.
Foul language, lads. I don't know.
The whole point is that I don't use foul language that often, ever, hardly, other than when it may be a
in the moment,
explosive, volatile situation.
For me, it's punctuation.
Punctuation. Yeah, I mean, overnight last night, I had a little quiet time before I went to the movie, and we're going to talk about that movie maybe next time.
I want to see it.
Yeah, see it. We're going to have a whole episode on it. Nefarious.
Okay.
Oh my gosh! But
by the way, Hollywood's not promoting it, so apparently we should.
No one wants to use. No one wants you to watch this movie. But I started thinking about, okay, so if we reformat it, we use the word "get real" a lot. Men Getting Real podcast or something. Nothing was flowing, so should I ask if someone's listening? They want to text us or email us or whatever. Say,
let's do it.
What would be the name?
I'm not gonna lie, you don't have to bother.
But and I explained to my friend. I said, we've been doing this a year and a half. We got 40 countries. Speaking of,
we got a new one.
There's a country called Seychelles. Seychelle. I have no clue where that is.
That's where the Sports Illustrated did all their pictures from. The Seychelles is what it's
Seychelles.
called. Seychelles.
Yeah, they popped up, and someone's listening from there. So, guys, thank you for listening. Didn't know about the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition there.
Well, Michael knew about it, obviously.
Michael obviously knew about that.
Yeah.
But they joined us. So, and, we changed the name. Maybe we go up by 10 listeners a week. Maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know.
But don't get caught up on two words. Just check it out. And if we're not for you, don't listen to us.
Sure.
But share us with somebody else, because we might be for them.
Yeah, we might be for them. So, but anyway, still taking under advisement, and we're going to think about it. But we're having a lot of fun. We got a lot of events coming up. You can check our event page at impactministries.org, mpactministries.org. Facebook, social media, YouTube. Just go right below. Click on like, click on share it with somebody. And
on Facebook, it's right here.
On Facebook, it's on this side. On YouTube, it's down here. But we just want to spread the word. We're over 10,000 followers on Instagram now, several thousand on Facebook, YouTube. We're brand new to YouTube, so there's not a whole lot happening there. It's getting more, but check us out, share us, and because of your help and support and believing in us, we are able to bring these to you. And these podcasts, all of what we do, you can also click on the give button. Recurring donations are the best, and we can just partner with us. We'll keep you posted on everything through our newsletter and devotional every week. So with that said, we're going to wrap this up. We're going to watch a movie. I think next time we might be bringing that to the house because it's very interesting. I was moved by this movie last night, so we're going to talk about that. Until then, we will catch you next week. I'm Trey.
I'm Michael.
I'm Brad.
I'm Jeremy.
We are the
Cussin Christians.
For now.
For now.
So, Michael, I was thinking, we talked about the coach that grabs your face mask. So, I would have let my offensive line coach. He could do it, right? But it was Thanksgiving. We're practicing because we have the game one Thanksgiving day. And we're all in shells, and we just got the helmets and basically pads on. Well, a fight broke out, so me and one of the outside linebackers, basically, we started just pretending we were fighting because we really didn't want to fight.
Yes.
But, it was just assumed I started the thing. So,
of course.
Yeah, the tiny little.
He was a good buddy of mine. His name's Mike Lorello. But we're literally laughing, just kind of tapping each other on the head. So the next thing you know, the head coach, Rodriguez, has us all in a circle doing up-downs for the whole team fight. Because this is when Clemson had the big fight at the
Oh,
bowl
yeah.
game.
Yeah.
So that happens, and we're doing up-downs, and I'm laughing, and Mike's laughing. He gets up my face like, Sheffy, what the F do you think's so damn funny? And I was just I just shook my head, and he grabbed me by the face mask. And it ended up being me and him basically going back and forth while I'm doing up downs. The whole team stopped, and we were so in the moment with each other. And then he put his hands on me, and I was like, listen, I was like, there's only one guy on this whole field who can put his hands on me, and you ain't him.
Oh, man.
No!
I said, so if you want to keep your teeth where they're at, you'll let go.
Yes.
I love me some Chef.
The gladiator,
So we get out for
baby.
practice.